Thank you, thank you. Like I was saying, we thought about having some demos from you guys and get the questions and also share the knowledge of your week's work. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if.
Yeah, I mean, we start out with the demo, and then we plan to introduce Knex. And then I think we need to talk a little bit about ESLint as well, because I know some of you had some issues. So I think that's sort of the plan for today.
Yes. So who wants to start with the demo?
I can start because I have a lot of questions.
Awesome.
Okay.
Great. Can you share a screen?
Yeah, let me change to my developer.
And for the rest of you, if you're not ready, then make sure you have like your branch with your the work that you did checked out and it's ready to run, so we can have smooth transitions.
Yeah. Yeah, run storybook. I asked some questions in the channel when I was working because I wasn't sure. My main question was like, it was just this, oh, maybe I need to share my screen, sorry. Like just the presentation, or we were supposed like to do the full logic with the state, for example?
Yeah, just the presentation. So starting out doing the presentational components, where it's just like putting together some HTML and CSS and like building all of the small components. And then we build all of the container components. We'll build them later. We also need the data in order to do that properly. But the idea about using Storybook is that Storybook is really great for like showcasing all of those like dump component, because you can like give them some context, so you can make some fake data and put it inside the components. So you can see what they might work like in real life.
Oh, so then it was okay. So I have the issue 19. I was meant to create. It was a small form which had the label, input, and bottom. I noticed the bottom was being used in other spaces, like in Megde's issue. So then I talked to her. And I said, look, let me develop the component, because Megde's, it's a little bit more advanced than me. I needed more. So I separate this in two parts. I create a bottom, and then I made the form for a single input. So.
And that's really awesome that you're coordinating together. That's something you all need to think a lot about, because you're so many people working on this at the same time. Can be really tricky to coordinate everything.
And then because I was moving back and forward, I named it in the wrong way, because I put game card component, and I think that was the issue she had actually. So maybe you can see here, I create a bottom like this. Better. I don't know why. Sometimes I do the Shift Alt F and then I don't keep it. I don't know why. So I just did a bottom title, and for the story, I just pass it here, and the CSS. What I wasn't sure is I import the fonts, and then I realized I just have them here. So I think I should change that to the other setup. Can you see in this line?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw your question about that one. I was not really sure, so I didn't answer it. I think there can be some benefit to importing the font in your JavaScript file, because of something about how Webpack works and performance and stuff like that. But I'm actually not sure how it works. I think as long as it works, it's fine. We can always optimize it later on. But can I see that file again?
Yeah, no, but it's not this one, because
Okay, but this file is the button component file.
But I think I duplicated because this one is the one that I need, because this one has the knobs.
Okay.
The knobs were really confusing for me.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, using knobs is not that important with storybooks so far. The most important is that you get a story in there with your component, and if you want to show different variations of the component, you can just create multiple stories if you prefer that. But if you use knobs, then it's easy to like play around with one component. So that's really awesome if you can do that, but you don't have to do that at all.
Okay, now I erase it and I did a lovely thing, so I literally ruined it.
That's the beauty of live coding.
Lovely. That's when I need the Zoe's workshop to survive this with grace.
Yeah.
But why I can, because I have two components.
Multi-build failed.
This is not what I want. What I want is to show this component and this single form component. This is what I want to show.
Yeah, but the problem is you have an error in your button component right now that's causing React to not be able to build. So you need to find that error and resolve it. But
I think in the import button font, she put comment for in the CSS when you Roboto put in the import font, put it in comment.
Yeah, try that.
Yeah, try it. So I think this should work. Yeah, now run again.
No, but it's complaining. It's complaining about the button component.js. So probably look in that file instead.
Yes. Title bottom.
No such file or directory. Did you move something around? Looking inside component, game component, button component.
Yeah, what I was trying to do.
Yeah, you just moved it out of the game card component folder. That's why.
Yeah, so I need to put it in.
Yeah, I put it back in there just to demo it now. But I can. So I don't think I described that explicitly in the documentation, but I would prefer if you don't make like a nested folder structure for your components. A lot of people do that in React. It's pretty normal to do that. But I find that if you start like nesting your components inside of your components, then you're making some assumptions that these components only work inside this major component. And that's maybe a little bit difficult for you at this point to know that. And then I just prefer to have like one level folder in the components folder where you can see all components. And then you can use a name to like associate something with something. So if you have something that's like a label that's supposed to work together with buttons, then call it a button label component or something like that. And if you have like an image that works together with buttons, then call it button image component or something like that instead.
Okay.
Personally, I find it easier to find the components that way, because when you're going inside the browser and using the DevTools and you figure out, oh, there's like a button image component, then I feel it's a bit frustrating if you have to go like 3 components down, and then actually you might start trying to reuse something, and then you're reusing the button image component that's inside the button something blah blah blah, but it turns out that this component could easily be used without a button. So why is it now inside the button folder? So that's kind of the idea. If you start building a hierarchy, that hierarchy should actually be like valid always, and that very easily kind of like gets out of sync with reality. But there's probably a lot of people that don't agree with me on this. But I think it's a good idea to try to stick with that for this project. But was it able to? It's building now, right?
But
Broken build. No, it's not building now.
No.
So
what's? Can I just erase that thing that I did of? I can just.
I mean, do you have all your changes on Git? Because then you can just like reset to the latest that you pushed to Git. But I don't know if you made some changes locally that you haven't pushed.
No, I don't think so.
Committed.
I don't think
so. I don't know.
No, because the last time I was working with the feedback that I have in GitHub, and I closed all the issues, except for the ones that Niels. I close all the comments, right?
Push the latest. Push the latest. Let's move on. I'm the timekeeper on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Perfect. So then, but I can just restore it from what I did, and then I think that's going to be faster, right?
Yeah. Exactly. That's what I was suggesting. You can just do it in VS Code.
How I do it?
So if you take the Git stuff over on the right here, you have like the Git symbol. Oh, up here actually.
There.
Can I draw? No, I can't. It's like way out on the right side. You have like your different menus further to the right. Oh, actually, no. Sorry, you are in that. Sorry, I'm tired. You're already in that view. So you can just exactly like you're doing it right there. Yeah.
I just move it like this because it's so much easier for the eyes. And that's cool.
Storybook.
Sorry for taking the time.
Don't worry.
At least I'm taking the errors you shouldn't do, guys.
Yeah. Generally, when you're demoing, don't start changing code.
Yeah. Lesson number 1.
Yes. Now it's yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
So yeah, it's a little bit. But I remember I changed some stuff because I sent a picture and it was looking okay. I have the knobs in and all these things work.
Cool.
But then I have to change it because of the width. For making it look exactly and to fit in this part.
Yeah.
I had to change the width to 100, and then this is how it looks like. But the Niels comment was the component should depend on the parent.
Exactly, and this is probably perfectly fine. I can show you a little trick that you can do when you're doing stuff like this, and you want to see. I mean, like in general, when I create components in Storybook and I create them responsive, it will typically look like this. If I have like a designer involved and he's like, oh, I want to see the button the way it's actually supposed to look like, I can just show you a quick trick.
Yes.
Try to go to your Storybook file for this one.
Yeah.
And you can see you have your button component right there on line 9, right? What you can do is you can just add a div around that button component, and then you can just like use inline styles or whatever. The stuff you're doing in here is kind of like throwaway stuff. It's just for testing. It's for mocking, right? So you can just make a fake parent around it here.
Div.
Make a div, give it like a width, and then you're done.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Because they also said like, I saw, I think it was Megdev that they said that Niels said don't use inline style.
Yeah, generally don't use inline style inside of the components, but here in the Storybook file, if you're just like mocking something to make it, if you want to have two components sit together so people can understand how they work together, then it's fine to just do something like this, because we don't want like a bunch of extra style files only for your stories, right?
I never use the.
But typically you will have another component in Storybook that will be like a layout component that will be putting together your components so you can see what they actually look like in a real layout. So in general, it's not really necessary doing it like this. And the drawback.
This should be the form, right?
Huh?
This should be the form component.
Yeah, that's the one you know. Yeah, okay, you're on the button component right now. Yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah. Yes, I understand what you ask. Yeah, yes, the form component would be the parent of the button component. So once you go to the story of the form component, you would probably see what a button look like when it's in a real world setting, more real world setting. And the problem about making fake diffs like that is then maybe you're breaking the ability to test the button in terms of responsive, because now suddenly it has a fixed width, or it has like, yeah. So actually, I don't think you should do it here. It's fine to have a button that's like the width of the page like that. As long as when you go, okay, so you are actually on the form component here.
Yeah. But this is something
But that's because the entire form has the same problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for a form, maybe it makes more sense to add that div there. But I think this let's don't go further down this discussion. I just want to show you that you have some options there. But it's perfectly fine to have your components go the entire width of the page inside of Storybook. People who are using Storybook, at least developers, should know that you're supposed to like pull Storybook to the size that you need, kind of. I think that's fine like that.
Okay. I just want to ask one thing. I was following specifically all the size that we had in Figma. I was just, because you can, that's how I make it look exactly as I wanted. But in this case, I shouldn't use pixels. I should use just percentage, and then we will put all together. So I just need to make the components and everything, but I don't need to be so concerned about how they look, because then we are going to make them all look the same. That's my question.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like where responsive design gets like a little bit tricky, because the way it usually works is that a designer will draw a design at one size, and then as a developer you have to kind of like interpret that design and figure out, okay, some parts should be able to stretch and some parts should be fixed. So maybe, I don't know what the design looked like, but I could imagine maybe that we had some padding before like enter and enter name, right? So maybe there's like 20 pixel padding or something like that. That padding in there, that would probably not be a percentage thing. That looks strange if that one just like grows and shrinks. That would probably be like the same 20 pixels no matter what screen size you're on, right? Whereas the width of the entire component, like compared to its wrapper, that would be in percent. So that would probably be 100% like you're doing right now, right? And if you have the form component, maybe the form component is like 40% of the page width or something like that. Or maybe there's a parent around that one that decides the width. It all depends on the context. But the point is, you need to like look at the wireframe that you get, and then you kind of like need to identify, in order to make this responsive, where do I have to use relative width values in order to make this work well in a responsive way.
Okay.
And of course, I mean, if you're in doubt, ask. But generally, don't. I think the main thing you need to think is this something that's layout? Is this something that has to do with where we're placing stuff on the page? Then it should generally be relative. If it's something that's more like padding, margin, stuff like that, then it generally should not be relative.
Okay, perfect. Shall we do something else?
Cool.
Oh, I have one, yeah. Padding, etc. relative, the other note. I have just one more question. I created a draft PR. It's Nils with us, because he made that comment to my code.
I don't think Nils is here today. No, I don't see him. No.
Because I did a draft because I was so afraid about the errors I was getting and everything. And I said, I prefer not to screw it.
Yeah, sure.
And I couldn't understand this comment, and I asked him, but I really, no, this is like this, where it's mine. I didn't understand what he meant, sorry. Here.
Oh, okay. I think he just didn't realize that you had created as a draft PR. Yeah. I'll let him know. I think he hasn't worked that much with GitHub, and I think actually the draft feature is something I only discovered like a couple of weeks ago. I talked to him about that. So yeah. So I think it was a good choice to make a draft PR for that. So.
Yeah. Should we merge this one? Is it ready?
Yeah, so then this question is, should it be a draft PR now, or?
Well, I incorporate all the feedback that I have.
Yep. Then I suppose it's not a draft anymore. But generally, if you think the stuff that you did is like, I understand all of you will get feedback at this point in time. You will probably always get some feedback on your PRs. Mm-hmm. So I would say the draft PR should be like probably more like if you know that there's something you didn't finish or something like that. But I think if you finish the PR, then just create it as a regular PR, and of course make sure that you go through the checklist here. Mm-hmm. And only if there's something on the checklist that you cannot do because you don't know how, or if there's something else that you didn't finish, then create it as a draft. Okay. So creating the PR signifies to us that you have finished your work, you have gone through this checklist, you've done as good as you can. And then we go in and we start poking around and we'll be like, oh, please fix this and this and that. And then you change that, and then finally we can merge it at some point.
I created as a PR because I wasn't sure if I should use a state to keep the information of the input.
Okay. Yeah, you not at this point. We are just focusing on the presentation components, but I saw there are some other students who have been working with state as well already. And I mean, if you did it right, that's fine. Definitely let's not delete the work, but the point of the homework for today was just to create the presentation components. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Then I think it's ready because this is the bottom.
Awesome.
No.
Is it still a draft PR now?
Yes. Let me check because I can see that I have the knobs and I actually add them, but I can't see them.
Okay, but if there's something you're not sure that's entirely ready, just double check it, and then once you double check it, set it to be a regular PR.
Yeah.
It's mostly just a tool to make sure, because once you make it as a regular PR, it should be like 10 people is going in there and reviewing right away, but it's also like 10 people spending a lot of time on that. So it's in order to not waste other people's time.
Perfect.
Probably not going to be 10 people, but
I don't want to take more time from anyone.
Yeah. Cool. Should we continue on with the next one?
Can I come?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How I stop the sharing the screen?
I think it's up in the top. There's like a orange thing, if I remember right.
Sorry. Right.
Yeah.
I'm actually having quite a few issues. Actually, I just start with my task. Mm-hmm. What I should do is, I should do this one. So when I click on the arrows, the image
we cannot see anything.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you're not sharing your screen yet. Yeah.
Sharing the screen.
Yeah. Can you see that screen?
Yep, it works now.
Yeah. Okay. So, so when I click on the right and left arrows, the image is slide. And when I click on the magic dot here, the image also is slide.
Okay.
That's right. So for both this sliding and the magic dots to work, I need state.
Yeah.
So what I kind of managed to do this one, the image sliding. Now I'm stuck with the button, the magic dots. I'm trying to do that one. But the problem is, since I have a problem, I'm not able to see anything in the story to see what's happening, how it works. So I'm stuck.
It's a little difficult to hear. You're not able to see what?
Yeah, your sound is not.
Very feeble. Okay.
Maybe get a little closer.
Okay. I said since I'm not able to see anything in the storybook because I have this error in my console.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yes. So I was just not able to. For me, it just feels everything is in the place, but it's still not working. I'm just so exhausted. I'm not able to find it.
Okay. Yeah, I think we should try not to turn it into a debug session for all of you. So you should probably do that after.
Okay, sure.
But
or maybe I just explain how my components are placed. Maybe if there's something wrong, then maybe I can correct it after this call and make it right.
yeah, it could be nice if you can just show how did you structure your components.
Yeah, okay, I will show that. Okay, first, for this task, I decided I should have 5 components.
Okay.
So the one was 3 was 3 was presentational and 2 was stateful. So the left and the right, I have 1 component for the left arrow, 1 component for the right arrow, and 1 component just for the image, 1 component for the magic dots, and the last, the 5th one is the parent component, which has everything.
Okay. Yeah. You could probably have the left and right arrows. That could be 1 component, and then you could just have like a prop that you're setting, which just tells whether it should be a left or a right. Yeah. But that's just like a small optimization.
Okay. So I will show it in the code. So I have a left arrow component, right arrow, and this slideshow image component is the image image thing. The slider component is the parent component, and the slider dots is the magic dots component.
Cool.
Okay, so till I implemented the dots component, everything was working. That is the parent component was working with, I had the organism structure, so everything was working, the left, right, and it was fine. So only from this, when I started with this dots, because this, when I click on a specific dot, for example, if I click on the first dot, I should have the 0th image and the 0th index.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so if your problem started there, maybe you could just like try commenting out the slider dots and where you're importing it into the other one. Just if you want to see it in Storybook now.
Yeah, but if I comment on this, the other things that I see on the Storybook, I'm actually kind of sure about it because it's working. So there's nothing to. Oh, you want show it as a demo?
Yeah, I was just thinking if you can show it without the dots, that would be great. Just
okay,
so
what do I do now?
I would just go in the file and then comment everything out here.
Okay.
And the slider dots.
Sure.
Taki, sorry the interruption. Do you need to allow Mohammed to come in again? He was kicked out and then he's trying to come in again.
Yeah, so far. Oh yeah, you're right. Oh, that's strange because I hadn't allowed anyone else. Yeah, and then when that one is commented out, you probably need to, in the container wherever it is, comment out wherever you're importing it, right? It doesn't matter with the CSS file, it's just the...
Yeah, okay.
Maybe actually you could have only commented out the import, I guess, actually.
Okay, I just comment this one. Yeah, I could have just done that. Sorry,
exactly, because I don't think Webpack will try to build the other file if it's not imported anyway.
Yeah, okay.
And then of course you're probably using the component somewhere where you need to.
Yeah, I should do this here. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Let's have a quick look and see if that works.
Yeah.
Way to the button. Yeah, I think it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's some problem.
Yeah. Let's have a look at that after. It is building. That is, yeah, that's ESLint, right?
The problem?
Yeah, I think ESLint is complaining because now we commented out some stuff that it's expecting properly. Maybe you had them before, I don't know. But no need to spend time on that now. So for the rest of you, if you want to demo something, but you're in the same situation that it's not building at the moment, maybe if you can do something like this, just like remove some of the code, comment it out or something like that to get a demo ready, that would be good.
Yeah, so this is the...
Cool.
Yeah, it's work.
Yeah, you could actually, it's really great that you did this with the state and everything. You could have done this without state.
Oh,
so the way I would have done this without state is I would Probably, I mean, you could just make one where it's only one image, and nothing happens when you press the buttons, of course. But what I would probably do is I would have made it with knobs, and then I would just like have like a select list as a knob, where you can choose which avatar it should change to. But it's awesome what you built so far. It looks good. We can probably do a little bit of optimization, for instance, like the buttons left, right, and stuff like that. But we can look at that in the PR.
Okay. So what do I do with the dots now?
Let's figure that one out in Slack after the class.
Okay. Swati, I think maybe the problem is with your import statement. Maybe the path is not correct.
Okay.
Let's not debug it here and now. Let's take that on the chat after, because we don't need everyone to be involved.
Yeah, sure.
I have a little question to ask Zaki. My question is, Swati built this whole thing by herself, writing code like line by line. But if I would have given this task, so I would prefer npm package. So what is the good approach here? I mean, should we use packages? Okay.
Oh, it really depends. But it's a really good question. So generally, when you're on a project and you want to solve something like this, I think it's a really good idea to go out and look if there is a good npm package that you can use.
Okay. Yeah.
But there are some things you need to keep in mind, because if you use an npm package, you're taking some other people's code into your code base. And that means that you need to make sure that that code is good enough to be in your code base, right? So you need to do some sort of audit. So what I usually look for is, first of all, I look if whatever I'm importing, if it has like a unnecessary large footprint. So is it just like, if you just need a slider like this, you can see it didn't actually take that many lines to build a slider. And if you're importing a library that's like 3-4K or something like that, like a library that's way too big for what it's actually doing, then it's probably not a good idea to use a library or an npm package for that, right? Another thing to look for is whether the package that you want to use is still being maintained. You can go and look on npm, and you can also usually get to the GitHub repo from npm, and there you can see when was the last commits. Let's have a quick look at that together, because this stuff is actually like really central. Can I?
I actually saw a lot of packages.
Maybe you can just jump on npm.js.org. Oh, is it .js or npm? Yes, npmjs.com.
Me? Can I do it myself?
Yeah, just go to npmjs.com.
Like, be aware of the time with the presenter here.
We'll finish it up now.
Yeah,
something like that. You could search for a carousel. Yeah, that's perfect. React Slick. Let's have a look at that one.
Yeah.
So if you scroll down, you can see. First of all, you can see. I'll go a little up again. There's some key numbers here. Weekly downloads. 361,000 times it's downloaded per week. So that's just a lot of people are using this one. That's really awesome. It was last published 20 days ago, so this one is clearly being maintained. There are people working on it. And then there's another thing that's worth looking at, and that's the fact that it has 197 issues. That could maybe be a red flag. Maybe they have a lot of bugs in there, and they are working on it, but they have more bugs than they're fixing, right? So try and go to the GitHub repository.
Okay.
You have a link to that here as well.
On the right side, on the right side.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. And then if you go to the Issues tab, up in top. What I would do here is I would just like kind of skim around, and I would try to get an idea. Are there some really, really critical things in here? And when they have an issue, you can also go under closed. That's actually a really good idea. You can see now you have open. You can go under closed. And then you can open one of these ones. and then you can kind of have like a quick look. So this one was open 7 days ago, and then well, it was, yeah, so go to the button, then we can see how fast they closed it. And 3 days ago, it was closed. So in 4 days, that's like really fast turnaround time. I would say this library sounds really awesome. Then, of course, there was the last thing about like the footprint, how large the library is. I guess we can see that on an NPM page again as well if you go back. That gives you an idea of stuff you can look at. Of course, like I don't expect you to do all of this stuff when you're loading a library, but usually if I see that you're loading a library in a PR, I would usually go out and try to look for stuff like this. And consider if it's something else. So this one is 771K, right? So maybe big for a slideshow. I'm not really sure. So the question, should you do this with a slideshow or should you do it with a package? I think in the context of this project, I think it's really nice to do it yourself because you learn how to make a slider.
Yes,
but in general, it also shows skills that you're able to use the skill of not reinventing the wheel every time you're building something, right? So it really depends. But if you have this if you're considering either using a library or making yourself, that's also something to ask on the Slack channel, and both mentors and other students might have some opinions about that.
Yes. What is the meaning of unpacked size? Is this? I mean, should
it's because that's when it's not compressed or anything like that, because they don't know how your build setup is going to look like if you're minifying and how you're doing all that stuff, and yeah, there could be some other factors involved. So that's just like the biggest size that it can have.
Okay, and you used footprint term. So what is
footprint? When I say footprint, I mean actually the size of the library. It's common to call it footprint. So.
Okay.
I had one more question.
Yep.
As I told you, I have a separate component for just this image. That component that is not loading because that the image that will be loaded. So there should be an index that is passed. Only then it knows which image should load. So this.
It's a bit difficult to hear you again.
Okay.
What was the problem with loading the image?
Yeah, because this the image component, it should have some index for it to load a particular image. So that index, can I pass it through as a node?
It should have an index to load it.
Okay. Can you hear me now better?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. But is that something? Is that a prop in your component index, or what is it? I'm not sure what you mean.
The image, as I told you, I have.
It's a number. So you have like the images in an array or something like that, and then it's indexed in the array.
So it's the index that's passed as props. Yeah. It displays based on that. So when I try.
And that was my point, that I would use knobs to select the index then.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm done with the. Okay.
Yeah, but really great work. Looks good.
Yeah.
Who wants to go next?
I think I would, because my component is not much.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Share your screen.
Give me just 1 second, and I'll run to get something to drink. I'll be back in 10 seconds.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so I'm running this in dev mode because
Zaki is gone, so he's coming again now. You can talk. Yep.
So this is the dev mode. My component was really small, so I did something. I was playing around with stuff. So this was my component, just this heading with content and one icon here. So, and then I took liberty to create a model using the NPM package, and this was working like this.
Okay.
But Because now you told me that I mean it is not very heavy to create by myself, so I will create it by myself, not using npm package.
Yeah. We need to see it on Storybook, Priyanka.
Exactly. Yeah, we want to see the stuff in Storybook.
Oh yes, Storybook.
And maybe it's not clear for everybody, and I need to say this because you're going on that direction. This is not a mobile app. This is not something that is going to work on your phone through an app. This is a web app. So it works through a link. I see, and this is also part of the wireframes, that they're very oriented to a mobile app. But don't get the wrong idea.
But what do you mean? I mean, it should look like a mobile app still. Even I agree, it's a web app.
Yeah, it should. But I hear questions that are very oriented to mobile app.
Okay.
So let's keep that in mind. That we're not going to deploy it, for example, on an app store.
Yeah, it's not going on Play Store or iTunes or something like that.
Yeah.
It does. Yes.
So it is working fine. I think.
Cool. Yeah. I saw something a little bit strange when you deleted the text. I could see that the had to delete scan QR code. Then the wrapper behind was collapsing. Yeah. So apparently, I think the image you have there, you probably use position absolute or float or something like that without clearing. You need to make sure that that image there is part of the flow of the page. So that means that the page knows about the height of the image. But that's something we can fix on the PR. So.
Yes. And the model is fine, but I didn't add this knobs, and I just imported this as well in the storybooks here.
Okay.
But I mean, I have a little confusion. Niels gave me feedback on this map, which is I think not is the part of my issue here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think was it you who were not sure about using functional components for the leaflet? I have like a half-written message on your PR, I think. But it shouldn't be a problem to use hooks and make functional components. Let me just find it. It's PR 35, right?
I'm sorry, I don't remember it.
Yeah, yes, that one. Yeah. So try to go to that one. Oh wait, yes. Or maybe I'm confusing.
I think you may be referring to my PR and my.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think I'm mixing something up. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
But it's true. I had like I was about to write a message on. No. No. Okay, this is another one. No. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it's that one. And
that was
I
that
also
one.
have
Yeah.
questions on that. Yeah.
Did I actually post a message now, or do I have it in a window somewhere behind? No, I didn't. So I have it somewhere. Maybe I lost. I think I closed it by accident. Okay, but I'll find my way back to it later. Yeah. Cool.
So he told me to not to fix the height and width because I was using the different image that time, and now I have the other one. I will replace it and remove the height and width from here. And this one this one is about that map component, which is not related to this issue. But maybe I will do it by my own in my local repository and check with him, but not submit it here.
Yeah, but I mean, are you working together on how to do this map? Because if you're more people doing the map, then you should definitely make sure you're doing it the same way.
Okay. Yes, I am communicating with my fellow students, but if I'm not sure, Zaki, tell me. I should
because right now we were discussing with Magdas to do it as hooks rather than using class components, right? And you have exactly the same. You also have like a class
we shared the same code. We shared the same code.
Yeah.
At first, Kriti was working on it, then I was, and then Magdas. So that was the same code, but with modifications.
Okay. Just make sure together that you coordinate as so it's the same. Okay. And generally, if you can avoid having, I mean, in your PR, what's the difference on the map component in your PR and, for instance, this one that Magdas did, and did Kriti has something similar as well? So what did you add? What did you add to the map?
I added this one. I added this to make it draggable. I made it draggable, and then later on I hand over to this code to the Magdas and.
Okay, good. It's just because you had some stuff in this PR with the modal and what was the other one you had?
Heading.
And there's QR code heading, exactly, yeah. And these things have nothing to do with each other, right?
Yes.
The QR code has nothing to do with the map, and the modal has nothing to do with the other things. So actually, I would prefer if you had done this one in 3 different PRs. And that would mean that the other students who are working on stuff related to the map, they could also be working on the same branch for the map PR. Maybe you would make sub branches so you could have like your own little space when you're doing like a lot of stuff. But if it's like smaller stuff, it might actually make sense to be working on the same branch if you're doing something that's so closely related. It kind of depends, but generally it's not so good to have 3 different features in the same PR. That's the reason we call it feature branching, is that each branch that you do is a separate feature.
Yes, that makes totally sense.
Yeah, and if you have homework where you're building 3 features, then I expect to see 3 different PRs.
Okay, yes.
Because, if one of these features here, if there's a problem with one of them, then it means that you cannot merge the stuff with the map, and the other students are waiting for the stuff that you did on the map so they can continue with their stuff, right? So then suddenly you have a problem there just because like your modal doesn't work the way it's supposed to do. Then suddenly you cannot move on with the map. That's the kind of situation that we want to avoid.
Yes, definitely. And I'm pushing my brand says that I'm pushing header feature, so it should be only header feature. This should be with another.
Yeah.
So I will delete everything and I will push it again with only header.
Cool. Yeah, move the other stuff to 2 other branches. Yeah. And just ask if you have some questions about that.
Yes.
Cool. Should we move on with the next one?
Maybe I could go next.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen. Yeah, so my question is based on the feedback I got from Niels. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So he said, I think maybe I should use only class-based components or functional-based components, and I just want to know which one is best practice and why we should use only classes or functions.
Sure. Okay, so let's stick with functions. I actually thought I had written that in the guide, in the component guide, but I looked at it this morning and could see it wasn't in there. So I'll probably add that. The reason being, I mean, like, classes can do pretty much anything that functional components can do, but the point is that if you start writing a presentational component and that component kind of like grows to the point where you realize, oh, this should not have been a presentational component, this should be a container component, now you need state, then it's kind of annoying have to like rewrite the syntax completely, because, like, you know, a class component is written a fair bit different than a functional component, right?
Yes.
So I think that's like the main reason for using functional component. But the other thing is that the tendency, or like people in the React community seems to be moving towards functions. A couple of years ago, everyone was like, hey, now we got classes. We got like all the new ES6 features in JavaScript. So now we can do classes. React started like implementing classes. And then people realized that they didn't really need the class features that much. And this part about like refactoring your code between functions and classes was kind of annoying. And now someone figured out how to do hooks, so you could do everything in the functional world. So most companies I see working with React now, they're moving towards doing everything with hooks. So I think that's the right way to go.
Okay.
For us as well.
So I think that was my question, and here is how the demo looks like.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, cool. That's fast.
Magnus, where did you get the background like that?
I used the one that Goffrin redid.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good.
How do I stop share? Yeah.
Who wants to go next?
I can.
Oh, actually, I had a comment again from Magnus, because I was looking a little bit at your PR. Now I just want to find it again. There was the one that was 35, right?
It's, I think, 21.
No, it's issue number 21, but the PR is number 33, actually. Yeah. I was just, okay, maybe it makes more sense now that I saw what you did. I didn't try to run the code. I was only looking at it briefly now this morning, because your PR is called game description. Was that actually what you're solving there?
I was solving the game description card, so maybe, yeah, the name.
Okay. It was just because I saw the title and then I was starting to dive into the code, and then I saw something that was completely different from what I expected. But I can kind of see now, okay, so it is like that, presenting the game. It was just because I was focusing on the fact that you were adding the map. But I understand now. Okay, that's good. It's a fine title. I was just like thinking that maybe the title didn't match what you did, but I think it seems it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I go?
Yeah, hi everyone. My task was to make a marker to show the current position of the player. So it's in a storyboard. For example, here you can just change the latitude. And
We cannot see your screen.
oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
we're not seeing your screen yet.
Yeah, sorry. I was forgetting. Okay. Share it. How about now? No?
We see your screen now, yeah.
Yep. Okay. So if you just here change the latitude, you can see the marker is changing place.
Yes.
And in the app also you can see this here. So it's draggable. You can. And I have some issue. It was like I didn't have the icon for the current position, so I put it from the URL. If I can show you that, but now I have it, so I can update it with that. But I have some question to ask because the naming of the icon is somehow doesn't say about that. If you can see pin icon map, it should for me it's like current position icon. But when I open it, it's like the
yeah.
And if I open pin icon, then it's the current position. So can I change the name or Ofran should do that? I don't know.
Yeah, I would say you could change the name, but just yeah, Gofran, what do you think about the naming?
I don't know if you want we change it, no problem. So I don't have any idea. So I take all picture again and I put them in good quality and I try to name it good name. So I don't know if it is very good or no.
No, it doesn't matter of, when somebody read the code.
They are better in last version.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are better.
But it's true. Of course, it's probably a good idea if you go Gofran, and edit the name in your source files as well. So if you're like, oh, we need a new version of that one there, and then you give us the wrong icon because you had another name, and I don't know, what did you do it? Did you do it in Photoshop or Illustrator or something else like that? Yeah. So it's probably a good idea if you can try to keep that in sync. That's something that I see a lot when working with designers, is that they make a design and they make wireframes, and then once we start implementing, there's quite a lot of things that change, and they never really get to update those things that change. And that means that like the code is not exactly what the designer wanted because we still like working on getting it right. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
But also the design is not really what we want because maybe we figured out once we put it in code, oh, we want this to be a little wider or something like that. So it's like end up this game of playing catch up. And that was actually also why I wanted you to look more into doing it in Figma, because in Figma you can like make everything component based. So you just like update something one place and then it's updated everywhere else. So same concept as React. But I mean, this is not a UX class. It's something like if you want, we can discuss that outside of class. But it's something that I see a lot, that like the design and the code diverge a lot, and then you end up having a developer asking for something, a designer doing something else, or the other way around, because also like your vocabulary, what are things called and stuff like that starts to diverge as well.
Yes.
It's something to be aware of.
Yeah. And there is something else, because we don't have context right now. So I hard-coded the style, but I think that somehow in the past we need the context to pass all the stuff.
Okay, what context is that? Is it because you need some theming, or what is going on?
When I need to let's go to the, and here, for example, when I'm rendering, not here, in the app, for example, when I'm rendering map component here in the app, I need to write the style here, otherwise I cannot have it there.
Okay, and that's the stuff that you were thinking about having in context.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That kind of makes sense. I just want you to notice that I actually wrote a section in the README about how to do theming.
Yeah.
And do you know what theming is?
I have some idea. Yeah.
Can you try to say, like, what do you think it is?
Based on my understanding, which is not very deep, is that when with the theming, you can have this whole style there, and then you can use it.
You can have what, sorry?
Different component. All the style, something like this is there, and then you can use it in a different component.
Yeah, that's the key. So the point is, it's all the styles that are shared among a lot of different components. So maybe a theme could be like the main colors of a website. So you have like a certain red color, you have a certain blue color. Maybe you also have a font. We were talking about fonts early on. We want to make sure that we're not importing fonts every single time we need a font. Yeah. You might have something like a default margin size that we're reusing, so we can make sure that all the margins like stay the same. Quite often you want them to stay the same to have like a consistent looking design. So that kind of stuff is theming, and we want to have that in a central file and then reuse it whenever we are building something where we need those kind of things. And what you're doing there is somewhat like theming, like how large should the map be, and the map will probably be on many pages and stuff like that. But the problem is, because this is leaflet, then it has to be JavaScript, because we actually chose a different way of doing theming. We chose to do theming in the way that we are using CSS variables, but CSS variables cannot like easily be read from JavaScript. So for stuff like that, it's not ideal. So I think what you did there is fine for this specific case. But generally, when you're trying to do theming, you should try to do it with CSS variables. And I wrote a section in the README file about how to do that. Okay. Yeah, I will update that with that. No, not for this stuff here, because you can't use it here, because you need the values in JavaScript. Normally, you need the theme values, you need them in CSS. And the CSS variables only communicates within CSS.
Yes.
We could write some sort of script where we can synchronize the variables between JavaScript and CSS, and I thought about doing that before. But I think our project should not be so complicated that it's that necessary. But that's something I'm willing to look into if really needed. So actually, the point was that what you did so far was good, but just stay aware that if you have theming stuff, then use use CSS variables for that.
Yeah. Write it down. Thank you.
Yep.
Zaki, I have a little question on this styling, because when I talked with Swati when she was working with CSS, and I saw Masume's code, and I saw Magdis's code, and I saw mine as well, because the thing we are building inside components, we write style inside component style sheet. But if like Swati did, like she was creating a component where all things are merging together, like left and right icon and the image in the center. And if she wants something, she wants everything in the center of the page. So she created some styles. Then I suggested her to put that style right next to the main JS file, which is...
Yeah, if you have something like that, that sounds like it's related to theming. Maybe not only theming, there's like more things to it. So there's some global styles where it's kind of like no matter what color the application is, we always want the overall layout to be like this. We always want to make sure that maybe you're using like a box sizing border box or something like that. Like that's usually something you set globally for the entire application, right? And you will have some CSS like that, and then you'll have the theming, and those two things they need to go in a global place.
But I was assuming that because everybody, if everybody is doing different components, they will want their component in center of the page, not like width 100% and height 100%. So these components stretches out and don't look nice. So they wanted something to hold it together in the center of the page. So I was assuming in my head that we should put that in the global part, because if we push our code, so everybody will be using components, not that global style sheet, right? So is this correct? My thought.
Okay, so this is I think we're moving into something where there could be a lot of right answers. Generally, one of the ideas about React is you want to like bundle up everything in components, and those components, they should be like so self-sufficient as they can be. So they should be able to, ideally you should be able to take any component, take it out of your application, use it in another application. And that means that component should have all of the styling that it needs in order to look right.
Yes.
But it's not always realistic to do it like that. Usually you still need like a few things globally. I think for the stuff that you're talking about here, I think the way I would approach it is I would have like a special component that's just a layout component. That's like a center layout component, where it's a component where the only thing it does is that it makes sure whatever that's inside that component get put in the center of the page.
Yes.
But another thing is, I'm thinking if you're trying to put the app in the center of the page in Storybook, maybe that's not right either, because you need to think that it's loaded on a mobile phone. You shouldn't be designing stuff to be pretty for Storybook. You should design it to be pretty for a mobile device.
Yes.
But that's maybe something to look for. I didn't have so much time to go through the PRs. We probably want to go through and see if
I just wanted to ask that for only presentational purpose, we will just write a CSS for container, which is root, ID root, which is a main container. And I mean, if I do it by myself, like I will put it in the main CSS, which is handling ID root only. And then when somebody will use my component, they will put that component inside this frame, which is handling the size of the app, main app. So it will work fine, and nobody will inherit by CSS, main CSS.
There can still be problems, because then we definitely need to make sure that if you have some global styling, we need to make sure that we also have that global styling inside Storybook. And you don't by default. That's something you need to add to Storybook if you need to have it like that. I think I need to see an example of exactly what it is you're doing and try to make a decision based on that, because this is something where it's a little difficult to say whether it should be one or the other. I can see my battery in my camera died, so I'm just going to change that.
Okay. I mean, I would choose Swati's example because it is a good example. Everything will go 100% if she submit her code. Everything should be 100%, and then if somebody else will use her component to put in the main app, so it will be like 100% individually, but when it goes inside that component, it will inherit the height and width of that component, that frame, sorry.
Yeah. Generally, your components should how to explain?
Be 100%?
Like layout stuff should generally be something that inherited from the parent of your component. So that means that your component can be used in many different layouts. It should not come together with layout. But internally, the component still has stuff. It has like margins around the button, and it has colors, and it has like fonts and stuff like that. That stuff the component has internally, right? Yes. But usually the layout is something where you want to have like a parent component take care of that, because that makes it easier to kind of like put together different components so they can work in different settings. But this is getting a little deep into how to build like reusable systems, and I don't think we can like really cover that in detail by just talking. I think it's better to be trying it and then have some code reviews where we discuss whether we do it one way or the other, and learning from that.
Yes, yes, sure. Thank you so much, Jackie.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Zaki, I have a question. Sorry.
Yeah.
I already asked in the Slack channel, but I see nobody has implemented it. Like the stateful components should go inside containers folder, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we have done it inside components folder, we should redo it.
Yes. In some cases, presentational components can have like a little bit of state. If it's something like it's just like a button lighting up or something like that. If it's something that has nothing to do with the outside world, then a presentational component can have a little bit of state. But but generally not. So usually if they have state, they should go in the containers folder. But that's something to look out for in the PRs as well.
Okay.
And you're more than welcome to go and look at the other people's PRs and point out when you see something like that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to point out that it's now 1:30, and I'm sorry that I'm being a little bit strict with the time.
That's your job.
Yeah, but we really need to, or if everybody wants to contribute, they also need to be aware that with their questions, that there is other people in the line to do demos. So yeah, try to be a little bit shorter and use the channel, or use the channel during the week also to ask questions. Don't bring them all to the class, because it's impossible to do it all to everybody.
Yes, you take time.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Who's next, please? This also takes time, so go for it. Please go ahead.
No, I don't have anything. So now.
No, but we want to see your demo. So please just.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
It's fine.
No, just I want to take this one because font is not ready.
You probably need to share your screen.
Yeah, start by sharing, please.
It's not share. Yeah.
Hmm.
I share this one. Yeah, I have these two package. When I want put them out from my branch, I stop there. I want sharing. I share all the. Okay, you see here. Here in my when I put here, I have this two package. When I put moment,
yep,
and this comment for from Niels.
Yeah.
I start yeah, and I stop here.
Can I just are you using moment in this PR here?
Yes, I use the moment for time. Yeah.
Okay, in that case, I don't think you should do a separate PR for it. I'll talk with Nils about that.
Okay. How can I? So I can.
It's more like if you're updating moment. So if it's like one version back or something like that, and you're updating it, then we want to have those kind of updates in a separate PR, so you can roll them back if there are problems.
Can I open Storybook? Maybe I'll see if I can.
It also falls into the box of making changes in 300 files at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a balance, so we can review it easily and also roll back.
So here.
Oh yeah, that hooks into who was it who asked something a little while ago about changing the name of images, because I think maybe not do that right now, because I saw that we have like several people importing all of the images and assets at the same time. So if someone changes the names of those right now, we're going to have merge conflicts. We're probably going to have the same files with multiple names suddenly. So don't change names of any files, like images and stuff like that, before we have them merged.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's working.
Mm-hmm.
Working good. And when I change here with nodes, for example, I need to refresh, change something here and refresh for it to work. It's not working correctly.
Okay, so in that case, you have like,
now it's when I change here, time in nodes it change.
Can you resize your code editor so you can see all the code?
Mm-hmm.
Number, timer.
I work with number, not with date. Is correct, or I don't know.
Oh, I think no, number is fine.
Fine.
I think so. It seems like your timer component is not being re-rendered. Can I see what your timer component looks like? You run use state from countdown. I guess it's because use state. Yeah, it's something to do with that. Yeah, okay. But I mean, don't sweat over this, because I mean, it's not like that countdown timer is being changed by knobs anyway in the real application. So don't worry about that.
Okay.
We can look into it if it's a problem in the real application.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. That was your task?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's just move on then.
Should I show my demo task?
Sure, please.
Gopran, sorry. I just wanted to mention one thing. The Roboto font and the images inside the slider which Swati is working on. Roboto is not there.
Yes,
if somebody else.
In this project, we need just three fonts.
Mm-hmm.
We have there just one correct font. Okay, so other fonts we don't need them here. We need.
So, but you said that I should use Roboto for heading.
Yeah. We need this font and this and Roboto. Okay?
Yeah. But Roboto is not in repository.
I know. Yeah. I know. We need put all of this. We have just this in the repository.
Do you know if these fonts are available on something like Google Fonts?
Yes.
Not all. This one is not available in.
Okay, because the other ones we can just fetch from Google Fonts. But I think someone needs to set up that theme file and try to get those fonts in there before we have like 100 people making 100 font imports all over the application. We want to avoid that. So that's a task to do. Daniel, can you maybe write down that we need a task for that?
Yes, and I'm going to validate as well what we're saying, because we actually added fonts last week.
Okay. But in a theme file, I just saw it was not. I haven't seen if someone has.
There are some fonts.
I will take that battle of the fonts. It's not relevant for now. When we need to move on. I will take that battle of the fonts.
It's more a matter of getting someone to create a theme file.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take charge of that.
The theme file already created last week with some fonts in there. Neil added some fonts in there.
Okay,
I can
cool.
push them if you want. I can push this two. This one we have, and this one we have us. Just the Roboto font is not in the project.
But Roboto is on Google Fonts. I'm 99% sure about that.
Yeah,
it's on Google Fonts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Goffin, I will check with you next after the class. This thing about the font. I'm sorry to push, but every minute is priceless, and I have Axel here next to us to present next, and we have to have time for that.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's please move on. Yeah.
Just one thing, very quickly. The images are not the same size. Gofran, can you please look at?
Priyanka, you can write that in the channel.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
You can write that in the channel. I'm sorry to cut you off. It's nothing personal. It's just to give time to everybody. Please write that in the channel. And if you have a question, please think if you can't communicate with us in the channel, so we give time to everybody. Okay, we have to wait, and we only have half an hour left before lunch.
Yes, it's correct. Yeah.
Okay, who's next, please?
I can go?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
And remember to share your screen.
Yeah. Can you see my screen now?
Yep.
Yeah, so this is the task which I've got. Like, I have to make a single answer component. So, can you see this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I have made this component actually, but now I'm a bit puzzled. Like, it should behave like a radio button, right? So if
depends. That depends because we have implement. Have a look at the line below your image, right? It says implement knobs on the component, so we can see how it works with radio buttons and checkboxes. So that's two different things.
Okay, so I have to implement both the things here.
Yeah. And you understand the difference, right? So checkboxes, you can choose all the correct answers, and radio buttons, there's only one correct.
Only one, yes.
So actually, I was thinking like, should I make a radio input type radio and then change the CSS to look like a checkbox? So I was thinking like that. So, or should I make like a input type checkbox and then change the functionality so
use the correct HTML components for it. So use input type checkbox for checkboxes and input type radio for radio.
Okay.
That's important also for something like screen readers and all kind of things. So always try to use the right HTML components.
Okay. Okay. So I will make some changes and then I'll maybe by today evening I'll be sending it and pushing the changes.
But what do you have so far?
I have worked with only this one actually.
Mm-hmm. But do you have something that you can show us, or like how far are you?
You can see my storybook, right?
Oh no, okay. I think you only shared your browser. So that's probably why. So I don't know maybe you've been showing something else.
Sorry. Why is it not?
Share all your desktop.
Exactly.
Not only browser.
I'm not able to change the screen. Maybe I just
stop it again and open again. So stop and open again.
Where is the stop? I can't see that.
If you can see the share button beside the camera button in the.
Yeah, you stop sharing right now. You're not sharing at the moment, so you need to start sharing again.
Yeah, you.
But I can't see the orange button.
It's not recording. You will see a button like share.
Yes, I can.
If you press on it, there is screen share it should be in the top of the list.
Yeah, I have like the first row is sharing the entire screen. The second row is the applications I have open.
Exactly.
And the final one is
So
something else.
it should be entire screen. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
It works.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Yep.
Yeah. So it is like it works only for a checkbox. So I was like not sure much about like how to use these knobs. So I think I still need to work on this.
Yeah, the knob seems a little bit strange because now the knobs are radio buttons and they don't actually seem like they're doing anything.
Yes. They're not doing anything.
But what I would have in the knobs is I would have the text for the questions. So you can try out a question and you can see if it works with long text. Does it work with short text and stuff like that? The checkbox and radio button and all that stuff itself, you can just do that in Storybook. Actually, it depends a little bit if you make the form as a control component. Do you know how that works? You know the difference between controlled and uncontrolled components in React?
I'm not sure. Control and
so a controlled component in React, that means that you're assuming that there's a parent component that has the state for this component that you're doing. So if you are making a text box as a control component, then you're saying that whatever you see in the component is always whatever is in the state. And if you start typing in that component, it will put it straight into state. And of course, because it's reading from state, then you would see the result in the component again, right? But that means that everything in the form always goes through state. And if you do that and you're only making presentational components, then you don't have the parent component with the state. So in that case, it might make sense to have a knob where you can select which one is actually selected. That means you cannot actually press the check marks and the radio buttons because those things, they rely on a parent that has state, and we probably need to make them as control components. So, but I mean, drop me a question about that, and we can go through that in more detail after.
Sure.
So.
Okay.
My camera is terribly unsharp. I need to. Yeah.
Should I?
The next one is setting up. I'm just going to get my focus back.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
I can see your screen, yeah.
Yes. Here's my task. It's to show the leaderboard list component. Cool. So I made this folder. It includes amount of time to see how much time the player spent. It's based on seconds, so I just translate it from seconds to hour, minute, second, and show it in this. And I have the team avatar, and I have the team title here. And here is the leaderboard function component. It's rendering an LE with a div with team avatar and another div with team title and amount of time. And here is the story.js file.
Yeah.
And the demo, it looks just like this. If I, yes, just right here. For example, here I can change anything. I can see this. It's free. If I delete this, it will go from the row. If I add it, it will come back.
Okay.
So everything should be correct so far.
Okay. It's very nice. I can see like the layout is affected a little bit about with the length of the title. So maybe you can try and resolve that so the avatars stay aligned even if you put in a long title. But this, see, now it goes out of alignment, right? So this is actually the perfect example why Storybook is great, because what I see is whenever you have designers working on something in a layouting program, design prototype program, they always make everything so the text in there is like really nice. It fits everything and stuff like that. They usually forget to test it with like really long annoying text, right? And in reality, once you have real users putting data in there, you're going to have like someone who has like a weird long name, to solve corner cases like that. And Storybook is really, really great for that, because you can actually take Storybook, put it in the hands of the designer and say, hey, please test your own component. And then they realize stuff like that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But it's a really minor thing. It looks really great. So that's cool. I haven't looked into the code, but yeah.
Okay. So I will fix it later. I finished. So if anyone want to take over.
Cool. Awesome.
I will just do this.
I will do. This is John.
Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah. Hi.
Try to grab the presentation, John. Share your screen.
Yeah.
Share the all screen. Is it working now?
How many people do we have left at the moment?
Say again, Zaki?
I'm asking how many people still needs to present.
Yeah, I already made my presentation.
Muhammad, not yet, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Just Muhammad.
Okay, cool.
I think just Muhammad, yeah, if he wants.
This is the task what I get to win this, and this is the storybook. It's almost look like the same what I have, but we still need to change the font here. I think we have discussed that just ago.
Okay.
I've create what we say div here, the main div. The main div here, which have 4 books, and I implement grade function in CSS, so we can get all this together here. Inside each box, I have a circle and a picture, and also I have a text here I implemented. So, for example, this is one box. If we can say this is one box which we have the box and circle and image, and then I have the text here.
Sure. No, we don't need to go in that much detail with what you built. It's more like if you have some questions, because what you build looks fine.
Yeah, actually, I'm not sure why it's not reflected here. I think if we change this number to 2 and
let's have a quick look at your story.
Your story.
That, yeah.
That's your style file. That's not your story file.
Style. Open your story code.
Yeah, one out above there.
Yes.
Achieve rank number. Achieve rank. And you're importing with knobs and number. Okay. And try to go into your achieve components.
Zaki?
What I'm looking at here should work.
Yeah, Zaki?
Yeah.
I think I found the problem. The problem it's when you in storage.js. If you go back, join. If you go back to the storage box. Yeah, when you define the variable type, this will not be activated. But if you move this variable to inside component, so it will work.
Yeah, actually, I see something else. I see that you declared numbers, but you declared them as strings. So I don't know if that's causing a problem. I don't know. So what you want him to do is just to put the number down on line 12 or what?
Yeah, he just.
That's another way to do it. But this stuff should work as well.
It doesn't work with me, and also doesn't work with Nez when he make it at the same time as this. But if he move all the declare of, for example, achievement task inside component, it will work.
Okay, but let me try to first to make this a number. I just want to see if that changes anything.
This one.
Yeah.
The 3, for example.
No. The point is you're writing it inside quotes, so that means it's actually a string. It's not a number right now.
Okay, let's
remove the quotes. Go back to your code. You see, you have quotes around the number 1.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly. Now it's a number.
Yeah.
You could do it for the other ones as well, because it is. You need to make it as numbers, all of them here, because they are numbers, right?
Right.
Or if they're not numbers, then at least use the string knob rather than number knob.
Yeah.
I think they should be numbers.
Now should be work.
I was complaining.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe he write the props as a string, not as a numbers. He need to fix the props. Props type, I mean.
Yeah, possibly, but it was working now, right? Try. Did you try changing the value here? Try to change that one. Okay, so that didn't work still. Okay, so in that case, try what Mohammed is suggesting, and then just go to the code again.
Okay, fine. So I will. Should I do it now or later?
Yeah, we can just try it out real quick so we can get an answer to this. So just take the expression here on line 6 where it says number achieved task, not the stuff before equals, but the stuff after equals. Everything after your equal sign.
Yeah, should I move it or
just copy it? Select it and copy it.
To here?
And then copy it down to line 12 inside where it says brackets achieved task.
Oh, here.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And remove the semicolon and comment out, or you don't need to comment out line 6. Yeah, just remove the semicolon.
Same to here?
Yeah, you don't need to do the other ones. Let's just test this one and see if it works.
Yes.
I just want to know if it works. Then we can move on. It's old, so we just need to have it reload. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Fine.
Is it nice. Because? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm a little surprised about that because I know I've done that kind of stuff before. There's maybe a little detail in there that I'm not noticing.
Yeah. So.
But now you know how you can make it work with Storybook. And I mean, the Storybook files. It's like. Yeah. It doesn't have to be super pretty code in the Storybook files because that's just for mocking stuff to get it to work. But of course you should try to make as pretty code everywhere as you can. But that's like the least priority.
Great.
So,
yeah.
Cool.
Yes.
Let's just move on.
Yeah.
Mohammed, do you have something to show?
I can't work with my computer here because I use Linux and I can't. If you go back, if you let me, for example, if you give me the how can I say that? I'm work with Linux, so this program doesn't work with Linux. So I'm using another computer to record the video. So another computer would have my stuff to coding.
Should I share my screen?
So you could show his stuff or what?
Can you give me the to go in with inside the browser?
Muhammad, I can.
Not John.
Whoa. Yeah. Is it here, Mohammed?
Yeah. But
This is there. You want to talk about your task? So maybe
I can't share my screen, Zaki.
Yeah, I understand that.
Because I'm sharing my screen.
Because with it doesn't work with Linux, so I can't share my screen.
Wasn't there? I think I saw one of the other students on Linux.
Yeah, so I'm using another computer. So on another computer, I'm just record the video. So when I record the video, it doesn't have my stuff for coding on that computer. So.
Okay. Yeah. But what this is the task. What was title result message modal window? Okay, so something with a modal window. How far are you?
It's fine. I don't have any problem with this, but we can go in with inside the browser. Maybe you can let me come inside the browser.
Me?
Yeah, you should be able to share your screen from the browser as well, but it's not always that works.
Just
a little bit spotty.
I will try to go inside.
I can open your pull request.
No, not you, John. Just not.
But otherwise, maybe if you just want to look at that, we can maybe take the lunch break now, and then you can just show your stuff after the lunch break, and then we take next after that. How about that, Daniel?
Yeah, I think it works. Good idea.
What time should we be back?
So for 2:25, half an hour to have lunch.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Enjoy your break, everyone. See you soon.
It's going really good. It's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
Zaki, can you be with me here so we can test the browser if it's okay?
I can be here with you, Mohammed.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
What did you say, Daniel? That you will stay around or what?
I will stay on.
Okay. Yeah. I'll stop the recording also. So remind me to start the recording again.